Condemned Criminal Origins. What you know about that? What's up, guys, and welcome to my Halloween 2025 watch list. Every year, I like to lay out my October with 31 horror movies that I want to watch throughout the month. Ideally, one a day, but sometimes life happens and you gotta stack multiple ones because you fall behind a little bit, but that's fine. It's just meant for fun. This year, to make it a little more interesting, I decided to limit myself to movies I have in my collection and movies that released this year so I can add them to my end of year rankings when that time comes. It gives me a good excuse to kind of catch up on stuff I missed and was interested in, but just it slipped through the cracks for whatever reason. There's one exception to that rule, and it's Five Nights at Freddy's. My partner loves that franchise and wants to show me the first movie, so I will be watching that. I believe they're going to purchase it, so I can get by on a technicality there. I'm also watching movies that I haven't seen before. Starting off with Until Dawn, I wasn't really looking forward to this. I liked the game enough. I never finished the game. I played The Quarry and I loved The Quarry, but for some reason Until Dawn just didn't click with me in the same way. The reaction I saw from people who played the game was the same as the people who didn't, and it's that the movie wasn't very good. But I like a lot of bad movies, and I love an excuse to watch a video game adaptation. House of the Dead is hysterically bad, and I love those games, and the movie is atrocious, but I love it. If you haven't seen that one, I recommend it. If you love terrible shit, like, there's no words I can describe it with. There's a scene where it cuts to them in like the first person rail shooter camera that you play in throughout House of the Dead. That movie's hilarious and worth your time despite it being like one of the worst movies I've ever seen. So outside of Five Nights at Freddy's and Until Dawn, we have Morgan Killer Doll. That came out this year, a couple months ago. I want to see it because a horror YouTuber I watch starred in it. I like to support smaller creators and small movies when I can. Even though I'm not a fan of Megan at all, I think it'll be cool to see someone I've watched on YouTube act in a movie and just see how they grow. I believe they've had some smaller parts in their own movies at some point. The last movie that released this year that I'll be watching is Together. I love body horror. It's probably my favorite subgenre of horror if I had to rank them. Maybe I'll do that eventually. Make a tier list. Everyone needs another tier list on YouTube, right? So maybe I'll take a whack at that. Moving on to a movie that I'm surprised I haven't seen yet. It's been on a few of my prior Halloween watch lists, and I just get turned off by the runtime. I think my glasses are fogging up. Anything over 2 hours seems a little daunting to me, so I like to try and set those aside for when I'm in the mood to watch a longer movie instead of trying to plan it out. But that's The Shining. I've been recommended it over and over, and I think it's finally time to give it a watch. I'm very excited to finally do it this year. Now we get into one of the movies that I'm hopefully optimistic about. I know it's not going to be great, but I hope it serves camp. It's I Know Who Killed Me. It stars Lindsay Lohan. She's a queen. What? I don't need to say anything else, do I? You've seen Mean Girls and Herbie Fully Loaded, brother. I forgot Freaky Friday. That's a damn shame. Next up, we have Us, and I loved Get Out. I didn't love Nope, but I hear Us is right up my alley from horror fans that I talk to. So I'm very excited to have that on Blu-ray and to finally give it a watch. It's been sitting there for about a year, and I've been putting it off and putting it off because I think I got it after last Halloween, and I knew it was something that I wanted to watch on a special occasion, and I just love my 31-day challenge, so I thought it was the perfect time. Now, from a franchise we all adore, the Evil Dead remake. One of the horror movies that got me into horror being one of my favorite genres, and just watching more movies in general, is Evil Dead 2. It's perfect. I adore that movie. I could watch it endlessly, and I still wish we could have got Ash in Mortal Kombat back in the day, but it is what it is. I'm excited to watch this reboot or remake. I'm not really sure what it falls under, but either way, I know that it's gory and I'm excited to see it. Stay Alive is next. It has everyone's favorite Malcolm in the Middle character, the man in the middle himself, Malcolm, Frankie Muniz. This is the movie where if you die in the game, you die for real. So you know the stakes are high already. You don't want to fuck around. Frankie, I'm gonna be pulling for him the whole time. This is one that I see people are very nostalgic for, and I'm sad I didn't even know about it until kind of recently. Anything with the cliche of if you die in the game, you die for real, you know it's gonna be bonkers. When I found the next movie in excuse me. When I found this next movie at the thrift store, I was really surprised because I didn't even know they made DVD. Like, I thought it was a movie that was stuck on streaming for whatever reason. It's Mandy with Nicolas Cage. From the little bit I've seen of it, it gives me kind of cult horror vibes. I'm not the biggest on cult horror because it kind of got overdone in like the late 2010s. Like every movie and game and true crime doc was about cults. So I was ready to move on, but I love Nicolas Cage for better or worse, and I'm looking forward to watching it despite my reservations. This next one may not be a horror movie in the technical sense. I've seen it categorized as one, so I'm going to count it, its bones and all. I don't know much about this movie other than it seems to be a love story and it reviewed well, but this is one of the ones that I was looking forward to watching most when I was picking out the movies from my collection. Now we have a movie that I didn't know existed. It's April Fool's Day. I'm guessing this movie's a slasher that takes place like, I don't know, sometime around Christmas maybe. I have no idea when it would be. It seems to serve that early 2000s slasher camp. I can't wait to add another slasher icon to my future slasher icons tier list. I could be wrong about the slasher part, but if I'm not, I can't wait to see the costume they come up with to convey April Fool's Day. Because it's just gonna be some bozo in like a Vitali mask. That would be horrifying. Or some other shit prankster from back in the day. Shit prankster is kind of redundant, but you know what I mean. Next up, we have a creature feature. I'm not too big of a fan of this genre, but this movie looked like it had bad CGI, so I had to add it to the list. It's Komodo. I believe this came out in the late 90s. I could be misremembering that. Komodos are really scary in real life, so they could do some pretty cool stuff with them being hunted by one if it's like mutated or something, but I have no idea. So spoiler alert for that horror subgenre tier list I was telling you about. My favorite is horror thrillers. I kind of count thrillers as one and the same with horror. To me, nothing's more horrifying than the subject matter that most thrillers cover. So we have Body Double up next. I know that this is one of those movies that pops up on people's favorite movies of all time list. It's a thriller with kind of a cult following, and I love both those things, so to combine them is perfect for me. Now we have another goofy sounding slasher that I'm looking forward to being introduced to, and this is Driller Killer. I'm just gonna infer that the killer uses a drill, and I think that's unique. I don't know how threatened I would be by a guy with a drill, but I love the concept, and I'm sure they'll get pretty creative in the kills and the tension they build with a drill. It looks like he's attacking from the cover young women. Now that I'm thinking about it, it seems like there might be some subtext there. Hopefully they handle that with grace and don't push it over a line. Now is a movie that stars my favorite Scream my favorite Scream queen, of all time, Eliza Dushku. It's Soul Survivors. This is another one I've never heard of. I've looked through her filmography for horror movies, so this one must have slipped through the cracks. She's one of those actors that I'll watch basically any horror movie they're in, kind of like Kyle Gallner is to me now. I just love how they perform in horror roles. I think they convey emotions very well without being over the top. I like when actors have passion for the roles they do, and especially in horror, because actors can so easily just see it as a cash grab where they don't have to put effort into anything. Eliza and, like I said, Kyle, they both give it their all in every movie they're in. Another creature feature we have is, I believe Kevin Bacon is in this, Tremors, and I've heard so many good things about this movie. I don't have much to say because, again, trying to go in blind to most of these, but a movie about like an Alaskan bullworm terrorizing Kevin Bacon, sign me up. Now is The Hitcher, and I don't know if it was a remake or a reboot, but I watched one recently that came out in the early 2000s called, I think, The Hitchhiker or something like that. It wasn't very good, but it was like a revenge plot movie, and it kept my interest, but I heard this one is way better, and this was the one that I originally thought I was buying. Like 2 days after I watched the reboot or remake or whatever it is, maybe it has no relation, I was telling my mom that I want to find The Hitcher, and lo and behold, the next time I went into Goodwill it was there. So I don't know, manifesting or something. Now we have a movie called Lanter's Lane. I saw this at Walmart for like $7.50, so I just bought it because I'd never heard of it. And I did read the back a little bit, and it sounds to me like an urban legend type movie. Those are always interesting. If you haven't seen Frogman, that was a fun found footage horror type deal that came out, I believe, 2 years ago at this point, but I think it got a wide release last year. Lantern's Lane, I love local folklore and all that, so I'm excited to see the story they weave. Maybe it's based on true folklore, whatever, I don't know, but we'll find out, I suppose. Another actor I like to watch in any role they have in a horror movie is the late Brittany Murphy. I think she nails the final girl aesthetic too. I recently saw Cherry Falls and enjoyed that. The next movie is Abandoned, starring Brittany Murphy. This is another one I'd never heard of. Like I said, I'll just watch anything with her in it. Finding out about new roles of hers that I'd never heard of, knowing that we won't get any further roles, it was very cool. It may be an old movie, but it's new to me. Recently I found The Uninvited in the Criterion Collection case, and it was still sealed at the thrift store, so I picked it up. I figured I'd throw that in there because if it's in the Criterion Collection, it has to be interesting enough for me to watch. This next one is more of a thriller, but The Spiral Staircase is another one that I hear held in high regard. And I love these older thrillers too, like Dial M for Murder was amazing. I highly recommend that if you've never seen it. Now, I get my taste in horror from my grandma and my mom and my sister, and they've all recommended Creepshow to me, so I figured I'd throw Creepshow 2 in this year. Next up, we have The Faculty, which has been on my watch list forever. I've heard it compared to a movie that I really like and is in my top 10 movies ever. So I'm excited to even get a poor man's version of that. I think the people who have seen it know what movie I'm talking about. The next movie I read an article about, I'm sure everyone else has too. It's considered like the scariest movie ever, based on like heart rate monitors when people watch, or some bullshit that I don't really believe, quite honestly, but that's Sinister. This one I'm just kind of watching because I feel like I have to. It's been recommended to me by my family, so I'll take them at their word, but I don't expect to enjoy it very much. I'll be excited to hear their thoughts contrasted with mine, so at least I have that to look forward to. Next we have Christina's House, and this This stars a lot of people that I grew up watching, so I'm excited to see them in horror roles. I think I'm gonna have a lot of fun with this one. It doesn't sound too serious, and the cover art is so melodramatic. It has three characters just like brooding. It's so goofy. I'm very excited to see this one finally. Next, we have The Dentist. This one, I'm thinking it might be a little hard for me to watch. I don't do well with teeth stuff. That's one of my icks in horror movies. I've seen people make videos about their horror icks, and teeth is definitely one of mine. If it's half as graphic as I think it is, I'll probably struggle a little bit. I'll white knuckle it if I have to. We'll get through it. Now we have a foreign horror movie. It's Hair Extensions. This is Asian horror. I'm not sure which country originally it came from. I didn't really look into it. I just saw the cover art and looked at the back a little bit. It's had me excited to go home and watch it, and now it's finally getting to that time of the year. I love any Asian horror. Korean horror, I think, is at the top. For me personally, I've enjoyed all of the Japanese horror movies I've watched as well. Now we have Feast. I believe this is another creature feature. It's weird that I picked so many, knowing my predisposition to not really care for them, but I tried to pick the ones with the coolest covers. We'll see how the whole judging a book by its cover thing goes when I share my thoughts on these movies after I watch them. Who knows? Maybe these movies will convert me. Looking at Tremors, I'm thinking they might. Our second to last movie is another Asian horror movie. It's Noriko's Dinner Table. I just found this one yesterday at Goodwill. I had to have it as soon as I saw it. I knew this was going on the list because I made this list earlier in the week. I had to bump off a movie to make room for Noriko's Dinner Table. That movie that I bumped, Dead Above Ground. We'll finish off with a classic that people will say is an action movie, but hear my argument. It's Aliens, and while it is probably more of an action movie, if you put a xenomorph in a rom-com, that bitch is still gonna be a horror movie to me. Have you seen a xenomorph? Like, they could make it the side character's best friend that gets like one quip at like a family lunch or something. It's gonna be scary. The Acid Blood, that is a romantic comedy horror. I don't need to go into the chest bursters. Bear with me, my bumpers on horror are probably a little wider than conventionally, but ultimately I just want to have fun with this, and I hope you did too. I hope you had a good time. If you are doing something similar to this, or just have an opinion on my list, share it below, because I would love to read what you're watching or your thoughts on some of the dog shit I'm sure I'm setting myself up for. So until next time, have a good night, and I'll talk to you then.